Hello and welcome to In-House Counsel Insights, where we bring you in-house attorneys from a number of industries, different backgrounds to share their experiences and tricks of the trade. Today with me, I have Lauren Deyo. She's in-house counsel at Farmers Business Network. Lauren, hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Well, first of all, tell us what Farmers Business Network is.
Sure. So, Farmers Business Network, at its conception, was a company that really wanted to help democratize a lot of things for farmers. So, data, collecting data from farmers, and really crunching the data and presenting it back to the farmers in recognizable, tangible ways to help them understand their own operation and the operations around them, and also kind of the larger industry standards that have been set and how they interact with those standards. And so what I mean by that is, one guy in a small county somewhere in the Midwest, he will have likely no insight into what a similar farmer is paying in the county over, and whether that farmer is having any success with the seed variety, for example, that he's using. And so, like I said, at our conception, we wanted to kind of synthesize data from these farmers and present it back to them to help them understand their operation and the operations around them. And, we all know that farmers often operate at razor thin margins, and farmers often are aging out of the industry. And so we really want to help farmers maintain their operations, smaller operations, family operations, and feel confident in going into the future instead of perhaps selling to a larger farming conglomerate, and really kind of keep things local.
So essentially information transparency that allows fragmented market of small farmers to have the same information as a large farmer. It sounds pretty amazing to me. You guys have actually been doing this longer than the whole generative AI craze, right? Before ChatGPT even came out?
Yep. So we started, like I said, as kind of data collection, and then it naturally sprang into, oh, well, maybe we have a role here in selling what the farmers need. So their seed, feed, chemicals, for example. And so we started selling those for cheaper than the competition, and to, again, help those razor thin margins of the farmers. And then naturally, then it progressed into financing those things. And so I actually work on the finance side.
Okay.
We do direct financing of our products, but we also have branched out into different lines of credit and real estate backed mortgages.
Okay, really interesting. And you were telling me you feel really passionate about this industry, the agricultural industry, and why is that?
So I think farmers, and I'm going to speak with a little bit of generality here, and
Of
so
course.
forgive me for anyone listening, but I think people misunderstand farmers. They're actually really business savvy people, and they have high capital needs. They have sophisticated operations. Oftentimes, they know the land in and out. So not only are they savvy business people, but they're environmentalists, and so they're these really kind of nuanced, interesting folk. And serving them it gives me a good feeling. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is meaningful, and what I feel like our company is doing is meaningful. And a lot of our employees are farmers themselves, and so we have that direct connection to the land and the people who maintain the land on our behalf as a nation. Agriculture is really important. It's one of our keystones for national security. It's how we feed our people. It's how we interact with the world. And so it's just a really important industry.
So it sounds like you feel like your involvement as an attorney in this company is helping just add to the greater social good, huh?
I think so, in a large part, yeah.
That's awesome. So what do you typically do? What is your day-to-day work life look like? And by the way, tell everyone where you're sitting right now.
So I'm in Tokyo, Japan. So my husband is here for work, and so it's really interesting to be working predominantly in what people call the flyover states of the U.S., but from the largest city in the world. And the hours are kind of funny, but no, it's quite the contrast.
But doable. Do you work through the nights or something or?
Yeah, I usually work until the early morning hours and then rest a little bit during the day and then pick it back up at night.
Okay, that works. But so again, so other than working nights and being able to work remotely, of course, and on the other side of the world, which is amazing. Like, what does your typical day look like?
Sure. So it's a little, it's a mix of things typical of being in house. So it's a mix of drafting documents. So anything from um, vendor contracts with outside third parties for on behalf of the company to drafting real estate finance documents with the borrowers, deal reviews. So we'll have uh, deals at any given moment, a few in the pipeline that we're working with, usually lending partners. And so deal review, just a lot of problem solving and strategies. So business partners will come to me and ask me my opinion on any given matter. So it could be anything from, hey, this borrower is having an issue with this. How should we approach it from a litigation risk management perspective? To, hey, I heard rumblings about this new law. Will it affect our operation? To licensing matters. So there's always some sort of combination of actual tangible written work, which you traditionally think of as an attorney, to a strategy with the business partners. Just it really runs the gamut.
I mean, these business partners, do they? Those are essentially your clients, right?
Yep. So
Yep.
I fit.
Okay.
Yep. I sit with the finance team daily. Like I said, we collaborate on everything from loan structures to investor agreements. So really, the legal team, myself, is part of the business decisions in real time, and that's part of what I enjoy about being in house is you can see the tangible difference that you're making in real time as well.
hmm how do you guys work together in the sense? And my question is really framed. You're on the other side of the world. I think this whole company's remote, right?
For the
So,
most part, yeah.
so how do you guys get together? Is it almost like on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, or are you good at just reaching out to each other if anything's needed?
Yep. So oftentimes, I mean, you have your select people that you most often interact with, and you'll have just running conversations on Slack. We use Slack internally, and in just a combination of emails and one-on-ones. So I have calendared one-on-ones with a lot of the business partners,
Okay.
and just to refresh what's going on in their world, ask how I can be of any help, go over any deals that we're working on together. And so just a good combination of different types of
So are
communication.
you taking initiative to set up those one-on-ones with these people?
Yeah. So oftentimes, you start to see that you are communicating a lot with one person. And so eventually you're like, hey, let's get something on the book. So usually it's either once a week or once every 2 weeks. And you kind of just like fall into it. And I think part of having a company that operates remotely for everyone is this expectation that you'll kind of get in that rhythm, at being part of that company. And I think for the most part, everyone kind of gets used to it and they've done a good job of it.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And again, that was before COVID, right? That this company
Mhm.
was operating this way, and uh, yeah, amazing. So, what do you enjoy most about being in-house?
So I alluded to this, but I think it's being able to see the direct impact of my work in real time and knowing that when the business wins, I was a part of that. Oftentimes, when I worked in private practice for a little bit, and when I talked to my private practice colleagues, um, you know that you provided advice, but you may never hear about the resolution of the issue. Sometimes you might have a better connection with a particular client and they might fill you in, or you might have a project with them later. And so you can ask. But otherwise, for the most part, you don't really see the benefit in action that you provide. And
Right.
so when you're in house, you really get to see the direct impact of your work immediately. And like I said, when the business wins, then you can feel good that you were a part of that.
So you mentioned you were in private practice. What was your practice area there?
So it was in a similar role. So working on the side of the lenders and oftentimes for the ag credit system. So a lot of
Oh,
ag
okay, that makes
associations. Yep.
sense. And what was this a client of yours when you were in private practice? Is that how you got connected, or was it just you reached out and applied?
No, so a friend actually recommended that I look into this company, given my kind of interesting intersection of interest in this intersection of finance and ag, and also kind of privacy matters are also sprinkled in there, given that it's a data company.
So you found this company through your network.
Yep, through my
Okay.
network.
Okay. And is this the only in-house role you've ever been in?
No, so out of law school, I worked at Fidelity in National Financial. And so I was claims counsel and I worked through claims for them.
Okay. And then, did getting this job, did it help having that in-house counsel experience before? You think they liked that?
I think so because, you know, it's a different mentality
Right.
to have one single client. You can really focus on and get your, you know, dig in and get your hands dirty with the issues more so than you can in private practice, I find. And so I think in-house employers like that you've already experienced that mentality, and that you aren't afraid to make actionable recommendations to the business team. I
Mm-hmm.
find that in private practice, everything is kind of hedged.
Right.
And
Right.
so you're presented lots of different options, and private practice attorneys, not to knock them, but it's just a different
Yeah.
mentality. So they can give lots of suggestions and well thought out suggestions, but oftentimes they won't recommend directly what you should do. Whereas in-house, you have to be nimble, you have to be confident, you have to be quick in your assertions.
Yeah, I think in private practice, I think that fear stems in large part from fear of some kind of malpractice claim that the client will hold it against them later. I think that fear is oftentimes overplayed. I can't even count on one hand how many times, based on advice I've given to a corporate client, them trying to hold it against me, things like that. I think most clients are understandable that legal's pretty gray. There's not always clear cut answers on things. You can't play hindsight on everything, right? Every decision that's made. But yeah, certainly in house, I think that fear is removed. So you can just kind of do it. You're just an employee of the company, which is great. I think just by nature of the very role, you're able to give a different type of advice. So as someone who moved in house, well, you were in house, and then you went private practice, then you went in house. So what advice would you give to someone if they were considering going from private practice to an in-house role?
So I would say it's really important for you to be very curious about how the business makes money and try to up your business game and business judgment. And so you really want to understand what drives value for the business team. And this is all because you want to be a good, effective partner for the business team. If you don't speak the same language as the business team, then oftentimes they won't dismiss what you say because no one's that rude, but they will start to distance themselves from
Right.
giving you recommendations because they think, oh, that's the
Just another lawyer.
Yeah. They don't speak our language. They don't really understand what we're asking. You also don't you have to toe the line of being cautious, and attorneys are famously risk averse people. And so you want to bring that to the table, but you can't be the stick in the mud because ultimately when the business succeeds, then you have your job. And so
Right.
you have to be a good partner. You have to understand that it's a give and take, that you can't just set up too many roadblocks or else business won't go anywhere. So you have to take calculated risk.
Right. Well, I love that calculated risk. We're going to go ahead and end on that because that was fantastic. Lauren, thank you for joining us on the show today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.